Hello, welcome to Accounting Hub. I'm Professor George Scarpin, PhD in Accounting. And our topic today is about Tableau. How in a chart, how do we label only the minimum and maximum points instead of all of the points in a Tableau graph? So let's go to a Tableau file here. So we have three companies, Coca-Cola, Monster Beverage, and PepsiCo. Those are public numbers, so no worry about that. And we have revenues, we have cost of revenues, and we have net income. So here a bar chart, a line chart here that is actually much better because here we are working with revenue, cost of revenues, and net income. And then how do we add? So first, how do we add the labels? So for instance, revenue here on label. Ooh, we have an issue here. Can you see we have the same numbers for all of them? That is the first mistake. We are adding some to the label, but for all, we have actually three charts here. So remove it. Revenue first. So here, revenue, we move to label, but we will see all of them. And we don't want to see all of them. We want to see only the minimum and max. So how do we do that? We don't go here. That is the most common mistake. Here is we add calculation. We go on average number instead of the sum. And here for us it will be the same because we have only one revenue per year. But we need to go on a different place. That is here on label. Label. Here we have all. Minimum and max. Min max. So minimum is Monster Beverage on the first year. Maximum PepsiCo last year. What about cost of revenue? We do the same, but now the cost of revenue on label. We don't want all of them, so label, minimum and max. We can also go on line ends, so the first and the last one. That is very, very useful too. So minimum and max, most recent, only the most recent one. Highlighted, we can highlight some. So here, for instance, we highlight it. Selected, I want to check this number, and now this number. And then if we go on control, we can select more than one number. For instance, very good for presentations if we want to go, but minimum and max here. So again, minimum and max. And net income. Net income, also label. Now here will not be the last one. So label, minimum and max. Minimum will be here, Monster for the second year, not for the first one. And max, PepsiCo for 2018. What if we have a bar chart? The same, not to all. Revenue here. So the first for revenue, and then label, minimum and max. And here, because there is a column by company that we don't have it here. If we want to add it, just come here, company, then we would have one for each company, but it will not be a beautiful chart. So that is why we remove it. But here we have company and year. So here the minimum and max and here only 3 years. We can add all of them. And here for Coca-Cola, the max revenue was the first year. The minimum was 2021. Here Monster Beverage. Here for PepsiCo, and so on. And cost of revenue, We can do the same label. We don't want all of them. We only want the minimum and maximum. So here, look at nice it is. For instance, Coca-Cola, the maximum, 2012 for both. But for costs, they have a lower cost or a lower revenue in 2020, but not the lower cost in 2020. The lower cost was actually in 2018. So usually they match, but for the other two companies, they match, but not all the time. And net income, no, we don't want all of them. We want only the minimum max. For instance, here, very random numbers, not the year with the max and minimum revenue and cost of goods sold. We have different max and minimum for each company. Interesting, huh? And very pretty for presentations when you want to highlight only the top points and not all of the numbers, because if we go on all of the numbers, sometimes it can be pretty confusing. So a lot of numbers here, we are kind of lost on what we want. So here, much better and more beautiful to see. Easy, huh? Guys, if you have questions, please comment here or leave me a message. And I want to wish you a very nice day and God bless you.